Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Entrepreneurs Playbook, where we help 7 and 8 figure business owners ignite their financial superpowers. Josh Bowerly here with Ron Parisi. Ron, how you doing this week?
Oh, doing great, Josh. Pleasure being with you as always. Looking forward to another episode.
Yeah, we're getting into a new year here, so thought we'd talk about a topic that's pretty relevant this type of year, right? This is a conference season as you get to the end of one year, beginning of the other year. I know I have real estate conferences I'll be attending, and I see this all the time. I think you do too, as well, as people want to be a part of these conferences and masterminds and all this type of continuing education. And
it was only 3 days, but man, it had a huge impact, both from a mental standpoint, like a business learning about business strategy, but also too, just getting away. It was huge for me. And then the people you meet are incredible. So there's definitely a return on your investment. And on those, but I would be curious. So, and then as far as our client base, right, at CPA on Fire, almost everybody is in one form or another of a mastermind, networking group, things like that, business strategy. So it's definitely prolific in our industry. But also I think today's topic is going to be, how do we evaluate them? How just taking time out to really understand the value that you're getting there's a cost, because obviously there's a cost, how much you're spending. And there's a cost that every day you're out of the office, there's an opportunity cost there. So we need to take that into consideration. But so yeah, what are your thoughts about some of the real estate conferences you've been to?
Yeah, I think for me, I was just looking at the one I'm heading to in Houston, and I look at the kind of the breakout sessions that they offer. They tell us that ahead of time. And some of them are exciting, and I always get a nugget here or there. But I think for me, like you talked about, it's meeting the people there and the networking that you do. And I've formed partnerships with people at these conferences. I've gotten just a piece of advice that was massive in my business. And it's always, you're meeting up with people that are doing significantly more than you are. I do crave that in-person thing, which is funny because I would say I'm more introverted than extrovert, maybe right in the middle. I still really look forward to those weeks a couple of times a year where I'm actually meeting with people instead of just sitting in my office by myself looking at properties over and over again. Yeah, I think there's a ton of value in those in all kinds of different ways.
I was gonna say, let's not go too far away. Just that point is really interesting as far as like extrovert, introvert. Like, I think that everybody thinks that all entrepreneurs are extroverts, right? Where I find it to be the other way around. Yeah, there's definitely big personalities online, and maybe those people tend to be more extroverted. But like, even some of the bigger people are extroverts, right? Like, they tend to want to be by themselves. They tend not to. And I think generally, like, entrepreneurs go more introverted. They're more thinkers. And I can tell you, like, just going to the retreat that I just attended, like, I would say the majority of people there were introverts. That was interesting. And you could tell there's definitely a hesitancy to do introductions and things like that. And I think that doesn't change, like, no matter how large you get, or it's people obviously, people are confident. But I think it's just a natural inclination to be more introverted.
Yeah, no, and I think you like describe my night. I hate when I'm at these things. And all right, let's all go around the rooms and introduce ourselves and tell us something unique about you. That's my nightmare. Right? But you still get stuff out of forcing yourself to be in those situations and do it. And it's funny. Now that you say that, I agree. I think it is a lot of introverts or kind of people right in the middle, because the extroverts that are there stand out, right? Because you see the few extroverts that are there mingling with every single person, and they're the ones getting the groups going and get the conversation started, and everyone else is just following their lead on that. So yeah, I would agree. I think in real estate and entrepreneurship, it's a lot of introverts or moderate in between people.
Yeah.
But I think on the flip side, obviously tons of great stuff you can get out of masterminds and conferences. But I see a lot of people too get, I don't want to say addicted, but they're jumping from mastermind to mastermind, and they're going to all these different conferences. And I think there does come a point like, okay, what is the return on investment you're getting here? Is there too much? Are you not sticking with one of these long enough? And there's people paying $50,000 for some of these masterminds, $100,000 for some of these masterminds. So how do we look at this and evaluate what the return is and we're spending a hell on it?
Yeah. I would think it's the other way around almost, is like, what I see is people belong to too many. And that it's maybe like an analogy would be like leads, is that people are always like, I need more leads. And then your marketing guy is always, what are you doing with your leads? I think it's the same thing with masterminds, right? All the good information that you're getting, all the connections that you're making, are you taking advantage of those to the fullest extent before you move over to another one and to another one and to another one? I just see, like, when people are involved in 5 masterminds and they're traveling all the time, it's like, there really needs to be a balance of like, I want to maximize my value that I get and make really deep relationships, get really max value. And really the big thing is the application, right? That business strategy, how do you apply it? There's a lot of things obviously that I was exposed to on mine. And then now the hard work begins, right? How do you apply it to your daily life? How do you apply it to your business? And I think that for me, I would just caution entrepreneurs of getting into too many and then not having the time to really implement all the major strategies into their business. What do you see from a kind of maybe from a real estate perspective?
Yeah, I think one of the big things, especially like when it comes to masterminds, I think you gotta be really careful on what type of mastermind are you joining. Like the successful ones, the ones that I see, these super successful clients that I've had in the past joining, they're a very close knit group, right? Like we've had clients that we had the entire mastermind ended up coming to us because they're so close knit that it's like, hey, I found this great accountant. But they're all sharing with each other. And then all of them like, well, if it's good for Amy, then it's going to be good for me. And they're all so similar. They're all in very similar industries. So they can really benefit from each other. And not that there's other masterminds as well, right? Where you get different people in different industries and that can work as well. But I think you want to be in something that you're going to develop these close relationships. And it's not just 1,000 people meeting on Zoom every week and you don't really get to know anybody. And I'd say I'd want to go in with a clear plan. This is what I want to get out of the group. I want to form these relationships and I want to learn X, Y, and Z. And then after a certain point in time, I don't know, you can tell me what you think that point in time would be, whether it's 3 months, 6 months, a year, whatever, but I better be able to point to something that I can show a tangible result from that business or that mastermind or conference or whatever it is. Because if I'm just going over and over again and all this stuff sounds good and yeah, I'm getting motivated, but what can I point to and directly say that would not have happened if I wouldn't have joined that mastermind?
No, I love that. This is what I tell people, like what I do is interesting with this last one. It's a filter, like it's a little form. And before I go to the events, then I fill out this out. What am I expecting? What's Ron going to contribute? What is Ron planning on getting out of this? I try to be intentional about looking at the value that I'm going to create in the group and then what I'm going to take away as far as business strategies, relationships. So I try to be intentional when I go to those things. And then, like you mentioned, is that at the end of 6 months, a year, like you better have measured up, right? You better have given a lot to that relationship and that group. And then hopefully you've received a lot as well. So it's definitely a two-way street. It's not, but I just think that it's very important that you be intentional about going to these things. And I think too, is you're so busy at work and then all of a sudden you jump on a plane and you're going to these things and you're just like in another world and you're not really able to. So again, just being intentional about being present during these things and knowing that it's a kind of a two-way street, I think it's important to remember.
Yeah. I'd say no matter how introverted you are, you're going to get some of the best benefit to go to the bar after the sessions are over and actually talk to people.
Yeah.
So sometimes we have to force ourselves to do that even when we don't want to.
Yeah. And this is what's interesting for me is that because I'm involved in a couple of these is we all have the same general problems. But then what's really interesting is the solutions, like how people go about solving them. And for me, that's always been the benefit. It's like hearing how people solve kind of similar problems that I experience is just always amazing to me. There's always so much good juice there.
Yeah, no, 100%. And real estate obviously is the same way. You go there and, hey, I had this horrible tenant. I couldn't get him out. Here's what I did. And even if you haven't dealt with that situation yet, what's coming eventually.
Yeah, cool. Hey, Josh, that was great. I think it was a great session. Just again, I think summary, right? Just, acknowledging the values of the masterminds, the value of the conferences, and really how to extract value and how to strike that right balance as an entrepreneur and as somebody who derives value at these type of organizations or events. So any concluding comments?
No, I think they can be a huge benefit to your business and they can also be a drain of resources. Join them, find the right ones, and make sure you're getting results from it.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, pleasure to be with you, Josh. Until next time.
We'll see you next time.
You have a nice one. Yeah, thanks, Sam.